We are taught to care about what I believe are the wrong things. We are taught to care why the market goes up. Like there's only certain reasons why the market is allowed to go up. And if the market doesn't go up for those reasons, then it's not allowed to go up, right? If the Fed expands their balance sheet, which they've been doing since 2008, it's not allowed to influence it, right? Now, the market may go up, but that's not a good enough reason for the market to go up. Or if the government, actually the Fed too, drops interest rates to zero, that's not allowed. That's not a good enough reason for the market to go up, right? We're taught like the market's only allowed to go up for certain reasons and only those reasons. And if those reasons aren't present, the market's not supposed to go up, right? It sounds kind of weird when I say this to you, but this is actually what drives people's behavior. This is what drives people to go to an all cash position because the market's going up for the wrong reasons, right? And this is really dangerous. Like we are taught to care about the wrong things. One of my absolute favorite stories is about Pema Chodron, who is a woman who is a monk, and she was in a meditation practice, a 5 or 10 day meditation retreat, and she kept hearing the guy next to her click his tongue. And it was driving her crazy. Now, this is a monk. This is a person who's had a lot of therapy or insight or meditation or really worked on themselves. So if someone is to not care about the guy next to them clicking their tongue, it would be a monk. It would be someone who has studied meditation and practiced meditation. But she couldn't shake it. She cared that he was doing that. It was ruining her. He was ruining her weekend or her meditation retreat. And then when she was about to go up and talk to him about him ruining her meditation retreat, she noticed it was actually the radiator making the clicking noise. It was an inanimate object. It was nature. It was something that no one was doing it to her, right? The noise didn't change for the rest of the retreat, but she had no problem for the rest of the retreat. She just got right into it, and she was her good meditator. And I love this story because she was absolutely hijacked by this sound. And her story was it was the guy, and the guy was screwing with her. By the way, I do this too, okay? It has nothing to do. And then she found out, oh my gosh, it's the radio. Oh, it's nature. It's something that is out of my control. Guys, the Fed expanding their balance sheet is out of your control. The Fed dropping interest rates to zero is out of your control. The government deficit spending going up $1 trillion plus a year is not in your control. These, I think of them as nature. Guys, the market can double from here. The S&P 500 can double from here. So I just want you to try that on, right? Not should it or shouldn't or it ought to or it has to or it's never going to. But look, here's the S&P on the screen here. Let's call it 3,500. The S&P is going to 7,000 and it's going to 7,000 over the next administration. Absolutely, right? So let's say I said that to you. First of all, I believe that's the very likely outcome, a likelihood. Outhood is likelihood and outcome put together. It can absolutely double from here. Now, there's 2 reasons why I think it can double from here, okay? I'm going to now add 3 reasons. I'm now adding 4 reasons. Okay, so let's talk about the first 2, which I brought up. 1, the Fed has basically said, we're going to expand our balance sheet and protect the stock market. They've been doing that for 12 years. It's not a fad. It is a trend. They are doing it. They're going to continue to do it. This market is up. The S&P bottomed in March of 2009. It was March 6th, 2009. It bottomed at 666. And today the market's at 3,500. Okay, let's just call that a 5x increase for easy math. Okay, how did that happen? Interest rates went down to zero and the Fed increased their balance sheet by trillions of dollars. There's also been deficit spending. That stuff's not changing. Now, I mentioned the 0% interest rate because bonds are kind of out of the competition, right? You can't put your money in a 10-year or 30-year and get 7% a year for 10 or 30 years. You can put your money in there and get basically nothing. So a big competitor of the stock market is gone. So that's 1 and 2. Okay, number three, I believe there are dozens of PayPals hiding in companies. Now, PayPal is a company that was purchased in 2002 for $1.5 billion. eBay bought it for $1.5 billion today. The chart on the screen here is PayPal. It's about $240 billion today. Right? Today's 2020. It was bought in '02. That was 18 years ago. It's worth $250 billion. That went up 160 times. I believe the government's going to go after the top 10 tech companies in this country and say, you have to spin off your PayPals. Every one of these companies, from Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Google, Facebook, I don't even know what the next biggest tech companies are below that, but they're going to go after all of them and say, you have to spin off your PayPals. You know, let's see, Amazon will be AWS. Google will probably be YouTube. Apple will probably be their app store. There's lots of Facebook. It would be Instagram. These will get spun out, I believe, before the government comes at them with antitrust lawsuits. Because wouldn't you want to be in control of how you split up your company? And the thing is, these are all PayPals. These are all spinoffs that could be worth more than the actual company. For reference, eBay today is worth about $40 billion, and PayPal's worth about $240 billion. So I think I'm on number three now. So the number three thing is that there is going to be an awakening where the government is going to force the hand of the 10 biggest tech companies and say, you have to spin off your PayPals. Those are going to be new CEOs, new presidents, new C-level, new directors. It's going to create a whole new wealth effect for only the top 2 to 5% of the population. I know the top 10% represents 90% of the people in the stock market, but of that 10%, really 90% is in the top 2 or 3%. So it's going to create and continue the wealth effect. There are not enough stocks out there. People want more and more stocks. And that's why they're going after all these different companies, because there's just not as much to invest in. Okay, the next reason, I think I'm on number 4. The next reason is this price chart right here. This is all world ex-US. So these are all the stock markets in the world minus the US. This price chart is worth about $30 trillion, meaning all the stock markets in the world, excluding the US, is worth about $30 trillion. The US stock market's worth about $30 trillion. Guys, the stock market has done nothing for, let's just call it, I'm rounding up here, 3 years. Now this is actually VEU. It's priced in US dollars because it's a US ETF. But if I actually take out, let me just take out the dividend, because the dividend gets reinvested. Yes, actually this stock, the international stock market, has not done anything for over 3 years. So that's 3 years of pent-up performance. Now, this is the same 3 years. I just want to see what the S&P is up over the exact same time period. It was August. So during the exact same time period, the S&P is up 50%. So we could see a 50% growth in international stock markets. That's another $15 trillion added to the world stock market. Now, guys, if the world stock market is going to increase by 15 trillion, it is highly likely that the US stock market will, at a minimum, grow by 15 trillion. So there's half of the 100% return over the next administration, regardless of who it is. Now, I don't remember what my fifth one was, but I gave you 4 reasons. Now, here's the thing. This video is not about the reasons. It's about you giving weight to what you think matters to have the market go up, right? What I hear over and over is the market's too high. The market's going to fall. Look how much space it has to fall. That's your own internal wiring, right? About 600 or 700 million people invest in world stock markets. They collectively determine which direction the market's going to go. And let's see, out of that, 96% of them, because the US is only 4% of the world from a population point of view. So 96% of the rest of the world, they've seen a stock market that has gone sideways. The takeaway is, what are you determining matters, right? To me, what matters most is the price of the markets, the price of the stock market relative to the bond market, the price of the stock market in absolute terms, the price of the stock market relative to the currency markets, the price of the stock market relative to the commodity markets, the price of the stock market relative to the real estate market. So there are only so many places to put our money on this planet. There's not 500, there's not 55,000, there's only 4 or 5 depending on how you measure them. You can put it in the stock asset class, the real estate asset class, the commodity asset class, the currency asset class, or the bond. Currency and bond are fixed income, which then you get for. So it is absolutely probable, right? I'll give it an 8 out of 10 that the market doubles in size in the next administration, regardless of who it is. And so for you, I just want you to think about your own breaks, like Pema Chodron having to say, this isn't fair. It's not fair that the market went up when the Fed printed trillions of dollars or expanded their balance sheet trillions of dollars. It's not fair that the Fed dropped their interest rates to 0. It's not fair that the pandemic happened and all these tech companies thrived in it, right? The fairness is a very dangerous thing to be playing in the world of portfolios and finance and investments and really the stability of your money. So as you look at the market, think more about what the market is thinking and think more about Pema Chodron going, oh, that's nature. What we're looking at on the screen here, guys, this is nature. The market wants to move higher. That's not an opinion. It does want to move higher because all you need to do is look at a price chart over the last 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 years and go, oh yeah, this thing wants to move higher. Thanks so much, guys. If you like what you see here and read here and hear here, please go ahead and subscribe and leave a comment. If you have a comment, I read all comments. And you can also email me at rc@fearlesswealth.com. If you have a question about what we're covering, let me know what you think. Let me know what you think is right, is wrong. And I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Okay, thanks.